J-Ross, do you have thoughts on the two guard? You were starting at two guard?
I knew when Mike Brown kept talking, like there's something about the floor spacing that he's enamored with, and Huerter is that. If that's what you want, it's Huerter.
Like, yep.
We've all talked.
I've been saying that for months, though, right? That's been my thing, right? Okay.
And I want to ask you guys this, because I think we all bring up defense for this team at some point and some concerns. I don't think they necessarily not draft, trade for, or play their top defensive guys. So how much philosophy-wise do they care about? I know they care. It's probably the wrong way to put it, but if we would say Keon's the best defender, I don't think he's going to start. If we would say Alex Len probably inside is their best interior defender, but I don't know how much he'll play. They add a guy like McDermott. Huerter will start likely. I just don't think there is a great defensive concept for the team as far as players, or if they had the best defensive player, like we've talked about Thibault before. What if they added him? Would he play? And I just don't think it's a weird.
But so many of the guys you're talking about they're one or the other.
True.
Like Keegan is both.
Correct.
So he plays.
Of course.
But some of the guys you're talking about they're defense
but
first.
They lean offense, don't you think? I mean, I guess that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the offseason moves.
Yeah.
I mean, if they lean defensively, they would have went out there and traded for a Thibault guy. They got DeMar DeRozan. They are all in on offense, yes. I think. I think when you look at what happened last season, and Monty McNair has talked about this, the step that we took back offensively, I think, was very surprising. And if you can be a top 5 offense in the middle of the pack defense, you're going to be good. We saw it a couple of years ago. But you can't be middle of the pack both. And I think with our roster and our personnel, I don't know if, at this point, we can ever be a top 5 defensive team. But we know we could be top 3 offense. And so I think they're leaning in on that.
Yeah. Basically, how I understand Mike Brown's philosophy is we want to get the most out of our guys defensively, but we're not necessarily going to look for dudes that defense is their forte. Matisse Thybulle, like we said, he can't shoot the basketball, and you're not going to play. Keon Ellis can shoot the basketball, and he can't even start. So if we're going to go in that direction, Kevin Huerter, to me, fine. That's what they want to do. Cool. But at the end of the day, when I just saw Brendan Nunez put up some ice baby numbers as far as what they were doing in the preseason shooting the basketball. Was it 26%? Something ridiculous like that. So you got to score the basketball. And I think the big reason the preseason made people a little bit scared is, honestly, guys, it was that Blazers game. Because that was the game specifically that DeMar DeRozan was supposed to keep from happening. Oh, well, it's not going to happen because they're going to be able to stop runs, and he's a guy, and it's the preseason, right? I think it was specifically that loss. The 2 first Warrior game, we keep talking about it. The starters didn't even play the second half. That's fine. That Blazers game was the one where, whoa, I thought that wasn't supposed to happen anymore. That was my take on it.
I tend to agree with Drapes, really. I mean, I think that there's just not really much value in them being middle of the pack both sides. I think at least they can have an identity by being an offensive juggernaut, and I think we saw that that's when this team was most successful, and kind of a combination of what you all said. I mean, I think that if this team can just get to above average or even just slightly average defensively, and if their offense can be better than what it was, as crazy as that is to say with all the records they broke in that first Beam team season, I think that's this team's best path to success. Now, is that a championship? Probably not, but I think you can still make the second round. You can still make the Western Conference Finals depending on matchup. And if you're just based on one side of the ball, I think you can make it. Now, the Western Conference is so tough. Maybe not, but I think at least this team has an identity on the offensive end, and that's something that in a playoff series, depending on matchup, you could really kill somebody.
I understand what you're saying, Drapes, about Kevin Huerter should start. And you've been saying that a long time. And I know you're in there. You're actually in some of their meetings. And I respect that. And obviously, Mike Brown indicated today that Kevin Huerter, if he's playing Thursday, he will probably start. I get all that. I still think, J. Ross, getting back to what you were just saying, to me, Keon Ellis as a starter at the 2 guard makes sense because he doesn't need the ball. His usage rate is very low. And you've got 4 other guys that need the ball in some way, shape, or form. Domas not as much as the others because he creates his own off rebounds and things. But a guy like Keon Ellis, if he can make his threes, to me is a great fit because he doesn't need the ball. But if you leave him alone, he can still burn you.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, kind of relating then to the bench, just a question maybe for all you guys. How many do you think legitimately, like if we just say over a 10-game stretch, How deep is he playing? Who's playing off the bench? We know Malik. That's
Yeah.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
I think it's 9. I think I did the math the other day. Is Jordan? I would assume McLaughlin. I would assume Trey Lyles. I would assume Malik. I would
Keon.
assume one of Keon or Kevin, and I think Alex Len is going to
so
be in there.
McDermott at all?
I,
or-
McDer-
I-
well,
I think
yeah, I
McDermott will
did
be
the
in
math
there
before that,
every
yeah.
game.
So now
I
that's
think he'll
getting-
play
yeah.
every game.
So does Alex
Yeah,
play?
it might be 10.
Or is
He
go
has to,
Lyles?
right?
I think he has. I guess
think
you
he
could
plays
run.
Lyles.
You could run small ball.
And now we're
five.
talking 11. They're not going to play 11.
They
Right?
might.
Like I can bring
they
up the
might.
Alex Len plus minus numbers last year. They were incredible.
Yeah,
I mean,
Alex Lynn has to play.
I
like-
really think
I
that-
What
feel-
are they? What are those plus
Yeah, I know.
minus?
He
Chris
was,
got him.
I believe
Where's
he was
Frankie?
first in the NBA in net rating. He was, I believe, first or second in defensive rating for it was. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, you look at some of the advanced numbers and they're insane. I get that Alex Len is definitely not the sexiest player to go out there and put and get excited about, but I just feel like, especially with this team, and as we just had a conversation about how much they care about defense, I do kind of think you need rim protection at some point. And Alex Len is really versatile. I mean, I'm kind of joking when I bring it up, but offensively, we saw him hit a corner 3 in the preseason game the other day. I think that he can really be a piece that you can move around quite a bit.
Drapes, if you are playing your top 5, and I'm including Malik as one of your top
Mhm.
5, as many minutes as they're going to play, are there enough minutes to play that many guys coming off the bench?
Yeah, because I don't think Domas and De'Aaron are playing 40 minutes. You know, they're going to be right around 33, 34, I think. And, you know, you're not asking Alex Lynn for 20 minutes a night. You know, he'll probably give you about 10 minutes. They'll do some small ball stuff. Trey Lyles. I think Doug McDermott, and it was only one preseason game, but he gives them something that maybe only Kevin Huerter get. Like he's a true catch and shoot 3-pointer. Like he has to play. And I think he's going to play night in and night out. You know, a guy who might be on the outside looking in on some DMP CDs is Jordan McLaughlin.
He might be.
He might be because, and let's say Mike Brown decides to go Kevin Huerter at the 2 spot to start. Now you got Malik and Keon at the guard spot that got to get. And so Jordan McLaughlin might be, you know, that last point guard coming off the bench. And so, and real quick too, guys, one of the things I mentioned earlier yesterday or last week about a guy like Kevin Huerter and then Keon coming off the bench. Let's say you start the game off and your defense goes sideways. Who's your relief pitcher defensively? Who's your guy you turn to off the bench to help you change the game defensively? If Keon Ellis is starting, you don't have a defender at the guard spot to come in and help you out and change the tenor of the game. That's why I think Mike is leaning towards Kevin Huerter.
We're going to come right back to the throne room, Sactown Sports. But you had something to say there, Alan?
No.
Alan has something to say about the Kings' defensive stopper off the bench and more on DeMar DeRozan's fit and what Kings fans can expect from him when we come right back to Sactown Sports.